All right. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good Friday so far. I wanted to take a minute and answer a question that I've been getting from several riders lately, which is how to stay motivated to train during the coronavirus and just all of the measures and stuff being taken to help contain it. And so, pretty much everyone around the world is being affected by this. What that means is different for different people. Some of us can still get out and ride. Some of us aren't, able to get out of our houses. But at the very least, we're not able to go to the gym and work out. We're not able to meet up with our friends and go ride like we usually do. If you're racing and you have a race season coming up, that's up in the air. No one really knows when that's going to get going again. And so a lot of the motivating factors for us for riding are gone. Like we love the social aspect. We love being able to meet up with our friends. We love the achievement aspect, the seeing us improve, whether it's in a race series or whether it's just on Strava or even just in your riding group, right? We all know where we are in the pecking order and have our eye on who's next and trying to make sure who's not sneaking up behind us and catching us, right? So there's always this motivating factor there as well. And so what do we do when those motivating factors are gone? Because it can certainly be easy to start slipping into some habits that we know aren't the best, skipping workouts, watching too many episodes of the Tiger King in a row or something like that. So we got to make sure, what can we do to make sure that we don't fall into some bad habits? And so I got three things that will help with that. Now, the first thing is making sure that you're focused on process based goals rather than outcome based goals. And what this means is the process are the steps that you take to achieve something. The outcome is what you achieve, right? So if you want to, for example, a lot of people who race are motivated by setting an outcome goal, right? Like they want to, improve over where they were or, see themselves achieve a certain level of performance. And so, but that's an outcome, right? The process that you go through to achieve that outcome is different. You need to make sure you're doing your workouts, make sure you're doing your mobility, make sure you're getting enough sleep, make sure you're eating right, make sure that you're doing the stuff on your bike to help train you and make sure you're able to achieve that. And so if you do that process, you'll achieve that outcome most of the time, right? But that's the thing is with outcomes, there's things that we can't control. I mean, if there's anything that proves that, it's this whole situation right here, right? Like no one has any control had any control over the coronavirus and how it was going to affect you. And so, you can't really control outcomes, but you can control the process. And so I did a post on this. I think it was called like toxic goals versus positive goals or something like that on at bikejams.com, where I talked about the difference between outcome versus process-based goals and how outcome-based goals can actually be toxic for you. Because if you are really focused on these outcomes, right, like lifting a certain amount of weight in the gym or like I said, like seeing a certain ranking on Strava or a certain, ranking in a race series or something like that. Like these are things that are not always in your control. And so if you use these outcome-based goals and you don't achieve them or something happens like this that stops them from coming to fruition, it's real easy to get frustrated because you're not achieving your goal. But if you know what your goal is and then you break it down and you say, okay, what's the process to achieve this goal? Right? Like I said, I touched on some of those things earlier: training, mobility, recovery, sleep, nutrition, skills training stuff on your bike. Like these are all things that go into the process. And these are all things that you can control. Like you can control what you put in your mouth to eat. You can control whether you do your training or not. You can control these things. And so if you focus on what you can control and you have goals based on the process, things that you can control, then it's a lot easier to stay motivated when the outcome isn't necessarily what we were looking for, right? And so if you really think about it, we still have control of a lot of the process that goes into being a good rider, right? Like we may not have the opportunities to achieve the outcomes that we usually do, but we still control the process. Right? Like we can still control how much sleep. We still control what we eat. We still control whether we train or not, right? So you setting these process-based goals and focusing on them will help you stay motivated, even when we're not stuck in a situation like this, right? So, but that's number one right there. So if you're finding yourself struggling to stay motivated to train, then odds are you are probably focused on outcome-based stuff and not process-based stuff. And if it's a good time for you to maybe switch your focus, and it's going to help you not only now, but when we get past this and just, moving forward, you're going to find that focusing on the process versus the outcome is a much better way to go about it. Now, the second thing is to keep in mind that, we love mountain biking, but really mountain biking should be a manifestation of something. Like, you should have a commitment to self-improvement, right? Like, every day you're either getting better or you're not. And so you should have a commitment to self-improvement on a daily basis. And this can be mental, physical, spiritual. There's so many different levels to what that means, but you should have a commitment to self-improvement. And mountain biking is a manifestation of this commitment, right? Like you do the things that you do to be better at mountain biking because you have a commitment to yourself to improve. The better that you are as a person, the better a mountain biker you can be. And so, that's that right there. Again, if you're struggling right now, you may want to check and see, like, do you really have a personal commitment to self-improvement? Or are you just riding bikes and training for these achievement-based things and the camaraderie? And again, if that's what you're into it for, that's fine. But you're going to find it really tough to stay motivated to continue to do this over the long run, because eventually things happen. Things start to, things aren't as exciting and shiny and new. And so if you're going to stick with something for the long run, then you have to have that commitment to self-improvement on just a personal internal level. And mountain biking is a manifestation of that. So again, you should be continue to be motivated to train and do these things because it's just who you are. It's just what you do. Like you are the kind of person who focuses on self-improvement. And every day you wake up, you're going to do something to make sure that when you go to bed that night, you're better than when you woke up. Okay. And that's just a personal commitment that you have to make to yourself. And so again, mountain biking is just a manifestation of that. And so making sure you have that personal commitment to yourself will help bridge that gap when the shiny achievement and social stuff that comes with mountain biking isn't necessarily there for us to look forward to. And so finally, the last one is, kind of focused on mountain biking itself, which is that if you want to achieve what others can't, you have to do what others won't. Man, right now, it's super easy to start slacking. It's super easy to start skipping workouts. It's the easier thing to do. And there's a lot of people who are going to do that. And so, for me, I get motivated by knowing that I am doing something that most people won't, right? Like, okay, it is tough to stay motivated to train right now. And most people are going to struggle with it. And there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to do it. And the fact that I am going to do something that most people won't, right, is going to give me a leg up. And that motivates me right there, right? Like, so you being consistent with your training over the long run is the best performance enhancing thing you can do. And so taking breaks, whether it's for injuries, right? I talk about like how important it is to not get hurt during training. There's no excuse for that, right? And one of the reasons is you have to take breaks, and it breaks that consistency. Again, this is another one of these out of our hands situations where it's easy to take a break from your training and tough to remain consistent with it, but that's going to break up your overall consistency. And so that's going to affect your overall performance in the long run. And so, consistency trumps talent in the long run, right? Like I tell people in jiu-jitsu, I've been doing, jiu-jitsu for the past 7+ years. And there's a saying in jiu-jitsu, right? Like it takes 10 years to get a black belt on average, 10 years, right? Before you get your black belt. And so the saying is that a black belt is just a white belt who didn't quit, right? Like it doesn't matter who's most talented on day one. What matters is who's still standing on day 3,650. And again, I know that's not exactly 10 years. There's some leap years and stuff like that. But anyways, my point is that, who's still standing 10 years later, that person's going to be the black belt. And they're going to be good, right? Like you train consistently at something for 10 years, you can't help but be pretty good at it. You may not be the most naturally talented person, but you're going to be really, really good at it if you've spent 10 years working on improving yourself with this skill. And so same thing with mountain biking. Like, that it's going to be easy for people to take time off. And so if you are looking at, well, what can I do to keep making sure I keep a leg up on people, making sure you keep your training going right now is one of the best things you can do, because when it is time to get back out there, we're going to know who was consistent, who did their stuff, and who just kind of took this time off as an excuse to, like I said, sit around on the couch and watch too much Netflix or something like that. So eventually we will get back out on the trail, and it will come out in the wash who is doing what. So you want to make sure you're on the right side of that. So anyway, so those 3 things right there, like making sure you're focused on the process and not the outcome, making sure that you are keeping up your commitment to personal self-improvement, right? So like, even if you can't get out and ride your bike, there's still so many things that you can do with your workouts, recovery, get creative with what you can do with some cardio. Like, there are things that you can do, but it should come from this commitment to self-improvement that you have to yourself. And then finally, just know that a lot of people are taking time off right now. And if you don't, you're going to be better than them. It's going to give you a leg up on them. So those 3 things right there are what keep me motivated to stay training, not just now, but just in general. Like, you're going to hit. If you want to achieve anything great or greatness in anything, you have to learn how to be consistent and how to stay consistent with your training and your approach when you hit roadblocks, right? Like, this is a big, giant, flashing light one for all of us, big, giant roadblock in a lot of ways, but this happens all the time in all aspects of your life. And so knowing how to get through this is going to help you know how to get through other things, and just going to make you better overall as a person. So embrace this chance to get be more and really understand, like, how do I, what am I focused on? The process, focused on, commitment to self-improvement, and I'm focused on being the best rider that I can, which means that I'm going to do the things that others won't. So those things there should help. So anyways, I hope you guys get something from this. If you guys have any questions either on this or anything in general, hit me up at james@bikejames.com. Always happy to help. Also need some more stuff for the rider Q&A videos. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to everybody next time.